The 5 biggest workplace trends for 2022. We've seen huge changes in our working lives during the past 2 years, driven by COVID. And this will still be with us and determine our working life in 2022. But we'll see new patterns. We've already seen new patterns emerging with knowledge workers that can basically work from anywhere at any time. However, to frontline workers in healthcare, retail, transport or teaching, for example, this word hybrid workplace probably has very little impact on their day-to-day lives. But they are unlikely to remain completely untouched by other trends in this list. So as technology opens up opportunities for new ways of working and continues to redefine the relationship between us and our workplaces. For more on this topic, subscribe to my channel or also check out my book Business Trends in Practice, in which I talk about all of these trends in a lot more detail. So let's look into these trends. The first one is hybrid working. So research by KPMG found that 69% of large companies expected an overall decrease in the amount of office space they will have. And currently we have about 3 main models. We have the centralized workplaces where everyone goes to work in one building. We have decentralized remote organizations where everyone works away, and then we have the hybrid model, or the best of both worlds. And in 2022 we will see people having much more of a choice. A recent report found that 90% of employees surveyed, including workers and managers, are happier with increased freedom. We're also seeing that this will now have an impact on this, what we call global war for talent, where people compete for jobs anywhere. So if you're a knowledge worker, you have to really think that the world is your oyster. You can work for any organization remotely anywhere. The second trend is AI-augmented workforce. So the World Economic Forum predicts that AI and automation will lead to the creation of 97 million new jobs by 2025. But artificial intelligence will also augment jobs and displace others. So we will see the automation of repetitive tasks. Hopefully this will give us a human touch where creativity, imagination, high-level strategic thinking and emotional intelligence will become even more important. And there isn't really any job that I can think of that won't be augmented by AI. If we think about manufacturing, we now work with intelligent robots and alongside intelligent robots, both from the design stage where we have augmented design robots to the manufacturing stage itself. We now have doctors. Their jobs are being augmented by artificial intelligence that can now diagnose diseases via machine vision. We are seeing this in retail where a lot of this is augmented. So we need to really seriously think about breaking our own job down into the things that AIs will be able to do in the future and the things that won't, and then focus on those that AIs won't be able to do very soon. My third trend is staffing for resilience. So in the pre-pandemic, the priority has always been to hire staff that would create this really efficient organizations. Mid and post-pandemic, the emphasis has shifted firmly to the creation of resilience. So where you build in some redundancy and overlaps in skills. The other thing we're seeing is that there's a stronger focus on employee healthcare and well-being, including mental health. And this will create more resilient organizations in the future. My fourth trend is less focus on roles and more focus on skills. Gartner says to build the workforces you will need for the post-pandemic, focus less on roles, which group unrelated skills, and focus more on the skills and the competencies that we will need for the future that will really fuel your competitive advantage. So skills are critical because they address the core business challenges with the competencies needed in the workforce to overcome those challenges. Roles, on the other hand, describe the way individual members of the workforce relate to an overall organizational structure or hierarchy. So what we will see in 2020 is more fluid careers, more fluid job roles that are focused on skills much more than anything else. And we will see more porous organizational boundaries where people with the right skills are brought into organizations and leave again or work for multiple organizations at the same time. This also has a huge impact for lifelong learning, which will become ever more important, because what we're seeing currently is that the half-life of skills is reducing all the time. So skills you develop today, especially around technical skills, won't be relevant in a few years' time. So we need to continuously upgrade and update our skills. And my fifth trend is employee monitoring and analytics. And it might be a bit controversial, but research shows that employers are increasingly investing in technology designed to monitor and track the behavior of their employees in order to drive efficiency. So platforms such as Aware that allow businesses to monitor behavior across email and tools such as Slack in order to measure productivity are being seen as particularly useful by managers overseeing remote workforces, for example. Of course, there's a real risk here that these tools are being used by organizations in an overbearing or intrusive way. So organizations need to find this fine balance. They want to use it to get a broad oversight into workforce behavior rather than just focus on individuals' activities, and then use this to enforce discipline. Companies that invest in this technology have a fine line to tread, and it remains to be seen whether the net effect will be a boost to productivity or a chilling effect on individuals' freedom. If it's the latter, then it's unlikely to end up well for companies that are doing this. However, for better or worse, it is likely that this kind of technology will play an increasingly large role in our workplace in 2022. For more on this, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, check out my website where you can find hundreds of articles on similar topics, or check out my book Business Trends in Practice and Tech Trends in Practice.